Okay, friends, sorry for inconvenience. Okay, so in last session, we were discussing on ESI Act. Are you able to hear me, everyone? Are you able to hear me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we were discussing on ESI Act 1948. So in that, we have gone through the what is the provision under this act. What are the benefit to the employee and his family, the who are dependent on his earning. Government have kept a provision under this act, ESI 1948 Act. Today we will discuss like when this uh, particular provision is given to that candidate. Now, who will take a decision like whether it is a authentic documentation or not? So, as in earlier session, we have stated that like government under the ministry, labor ministry, they have a separate division which calling as employment state insurance corporation. They are taking care of like to give the benefit or sanction the application of the candidate or the employee. So after scrutinize his document, his or her document, suppose the case related to the medical benefit or the sickness benefit. Now they need to go through the whether the application which is came from the any employee, they need to check, they need to verify the documentation, and then they are giving a green signal yes, whether it is document is authentic or not, and then they are passing a bill, means they are sanctioning it in this, maybe according to the provision they are providing the money, or it means sanctioning the bill. Okay, so I earlier said that the act also guarantee reasonably good medical care to workers and their immediate dependents. Following the promulgation of the ESI Act, the central government set up this ESI corporation to administer the scheme. It's very important that this particular ESI corporation, they are looking after to administer the scheme, because it is a one separate division who is taking care of this ESI scheme. The scheme thereafter was first implemented at Kanpur and Delhi on 24th February 1952. Actually, suppose consider the implementation of this act. It is actually stated in 1948, but implementation part, people has started taking a benefit under this scheme, and it is implemented first in Kanpur and Delhi, and that is in 1952. So after how many years? Near about 3-4 years, people they have started taking benefit of this, because till that many employee, many candidate, many laborers, they were not aware about this scheme which is launched by the government. Okay, now today we are discussing on when this scheme is implemented, the it is absolve the employers of their obligation under the Maternity Benefit Act 1961 and Workmen's Compensation Act 1922. As we know that there are a separate benefit or what we can scheme of a government, and today we are aware about we have a Maternity Benefit Act. According to that, there are a separate provision, and then Workmen's Compensation Act, again they have a separate benefit. Now question is like, what is the difference between this earlier act? Because in the medical benefit, there is a second benefit in ESI Act where women employees is getting a benefit under this act. Here in maternity benefit, there are two benefits. Like one is a suppose this is getting a paid leaves of near about, in current, I'm just speaking on a current scenario, 6 month paid leave. Okay, now under, suppose if it is a maternity benefit in the medical benefit of ESI Act, what is the difference between this separate provision? There she is getting, because during this pregnancy there are two three cases means suppose due to any any situation, suppose there is a miscarriage, so for that treatment she is getting a in cash amount. Second is like premature baby, means prior to the due date she is getting delivered. So for that, maybe suppose there is a emergency, again for that purpose also she is getting a benefit. Again, suppose during a delivery if she is going through certain surgery or maybe certain operation, for that also ESI Act, we are talking on the benefit separate from the maternity benefit. The provision is in ESI Act. So she is getting a benefit in cash apart from this for any surgery or the operation during the maternity. So whereas the in maternity benefit act, there is only she is getting a paid leave of 6 months. Okay, so this is the two benefit, two separate provision. That's why medical, under the medical benefit for women employed, they have kept a separate provision during this critical phase of her life, and that is applicable only first two childs only. Okay, so they have kept, there is a what we can say, the one filter, first two child only. Okay, so all the benefit means both the benefit under the maternity benefits again, and for in ESI Act also the benefit is limited to only 2 acts. Now second is like a Workmen's Compensation Act. Now what is the difference of a Workmen's Compensation Act in of normal and the benefit under the ESI Act? Because we must aware here they are getting Workmen's Compensation Act according to the 1923, that is earlier than the 1948. So according to that, there was a fixed wages. So now even wages they are getting according to the maybe hourly basis, maybe piece rate, or maybe a job. Job means what? A particular job hours they are doing in the industry. So the formation or the calculation of the wages are varies. It is depend on the maybe the boss or maybe employer or maybe a CEO of that particular organization to finalize the what we can say, the compensation or overall amount to be paid under the wages. Okay, now under the Compensation Act add-on, after they are getting this compensation is which is more beyond that particular amount which is fixed under this act. Okay, now we will go like the act was initially intended to factory workers, but later become applicable to all establishment having 10 or more workers. Now it is started with, earlier it was only whatever the benefit which is the provision under the government, they have kept. Earlier the limit was a 20 employee, but when it is observed that like many organization, the capacity of employee is less than 10, but still they are registered under the government. So they are able to, or they are able to get the benefit under this act. As on 31st March 2006, there is a amendments, and till that they have calculated like how many beneficiaries. So it is calculated as 82.8 million beneficiary under this ESI scheme throughout the India. So this is a round figure, and it is calculated at 31st March 2016. Now, when we are talking on like there is a separate provision or separate body who are looking after this particular scheme. So we will just today discuss on like constitution of a corporation. Now the composition of ESI is defined in section 4, and it is as follows. So section 4 of what? This is a one act. Now whatever the labor law or any act, even in a government we have fundamental rights, we have various rights. So according to that we have a separate provision. Okay. Now, separate provision for whom? To the employee. Recently, someone joined. Who is joined recently? Are you able to hear me now? Shivani, you recently joined? Am I audible?
No, ma'am, I have already joined. Yes, ma'am, of course.
Okay. So, these are the important designation who are taking care of this scheme. Now, the Director General, Chairman appointed by the central government, because the scheme is implemented or execution of this is done by the ESI corporation. But here, who will the heading this particular division? Chairman appointed by the central government, Vice Chairman appointed by the central government, not more than 5% nominated by the central government. So here, central government, they are taking care of. Here, why I'm discussing this part, like suppose you are a HR employee, okay? Now, these are a government designation. So maybe in the future, suppose you have joined any organization and you are having the experience working in this labor law or in employee welfare. So you can be one of the head in this particular corporation. So that's why I'm discussing like how this nomination, the central government, central government, they are giving to the different heads or different designation. Now these are not at all all employees supposed to be from government sector. Sometimes they are, because chairman and vice chairman, these are the like most, or director general, these are the most experienced employee. Okay, now they are maybe selecting them, they have a proper procedure to select this employee. Maybe they are giving certain ads through the government website, and then they are giving this, and these are very, very responsible. They are a signing authority, they are decision maker. So it's very, very important designation. So maybe in the future, so people, they are not aware, many employees, they are not aware about these are the certain provision under the HR. These are a HR employee. Okay, one person to represent each state. Now from each state, there in this constitution of a corporation, ESI, so there are one person to represent each state. Now suppose you belong to Maharashtra, so one person representing from Maharashtra. So we have how many state in the India? Anyone? General knowledge person. How many state we have in India in currently? Because till there was again 2-3 state form, Jharkhand, Uttaranchal. Anyone aware about how many state we have in India?
Ma'am, 28.
Now is increase. 20, what, 20, 28 or 20?
Ma'am, 28.
Like 32, because Jharkhand, Uttaranchal, then there is again 2 state. MP is divided into 2, Jharkhand and Madhya Pradesh, and then UP also divided into 2. So there is a 32. Currently we have a 32 state. Now one person representing a union territories, means what is meant by union territories? Anyone? Then how many union territories we have in India? No, madam, no idea. We list
8.
Ma'am, 8. 8.
Can you list out? I will not ask all the union territory, at least 1, 2.
Ma'am, Daman and Diu.
Okay.
Then Dadra and Nagar Haveli.
Dadra Nagar Haveli.
Yes, ma'am.
Then Delhi and the Chandigarh, they are the union territories. Okay, so 10 persons representing employers, 10 persons representing employees. Now just look at, I'm just happy with these particular numbers. Like suppose though the constitution of a corporation is having this designation, high designation, but definitely because there's supposed to be not any type of a discrimination while sanctioning the application of an employee. So 10% representing the employers and 10% representing the employees. Now who will be the many organization? Maybe they are the government. Appointment is done by the government, and here they are appointing these 10 persons from employees, and you know who are these employees from any sector. Okay. Now 2 persons representing the medical profession. Now mostly what happened, because it is a government scheme, so the medical profession means, but obviously doctors, and these are doctors from the medical hospitals, government hospital. Okay. 3 members of a parliament, so 2 from Lok Sabha and 1 from Rajya Sabha. So from upper body, that is we are always calling as a Rajya Sabha, 1 member from the Rajya Sabha and 2 members from a Lok Sabha. So even the corporator, they are also getting chance to act as a member in this corporation. So that's why suppose if any person they are struggling hard to collect the documentation and then put up all these under this one particular application is very difficult, because many laborers, they are not properly maintaining their documentation. Okay, so for them, suppose the critical situation, and that critical situation, because what happened, this is our social what we can say, the current situation, because of a flood, because of our natural calamities, many times actually laborers, they are living in a such a in a horrible condition. It is very difficult for them to earn for a 2 time meal. And will it possible for them to maintain the documentation, a separate file, and keep in an almirah, and like, it's very difficult for them. Okay, so suppose in the this natural calamities like a flood, and suppose they're having a documentation and it is lost, what will it is not their fault, because it is not done intentionally. But still, what happened, you need to provide certain authentic documentation to avail the benefit under the scheme. Now what to do? Okay, but company is having a record of all employee. Don't you feel company will take an initiative? And that's why the provision under this, like 10% representing the employees and 10% representing employers. Suppose any application come from the this labor for this to take a benefit under this scheme, they can be act as a mediator, and they can give approve by discussing with the upper body. So for them, that's why, to give a justice to the each application, you just check there are a representation from each and every part of the community. Community means the from the every angle, like 3 members from parliament, 2 from Lok Sabha, 1 from Rajya Sabha, 2 persons representing a medical profession, 10% representing employee, 10% representing employers, 1% one each person from each state and the union territory, 5% nominated by the central government, and these are 3 higher designation. Okay. The term of office of a member of the corporation via section 5, in that now formation is done via section 4, whereas the following member are appointed for up to a 4-year period. Now these are a few under the section 5, it is given that the appointment is only for a 4 year, and it is mentioned under section 5 of ESI Act. Director General, Chairman, Vice Chairman, the 5 people nominated by central government, the members representing each state, and the members representing each union territory. Okay, so it is given each and every minute details which is given in the ESI Act. So which section under this they have given a detail. Now this is one standing committee. Like we in the Wadia group also, we are having a standing committee. Now role of a standing committee is like just to approve this. Looking all the day, means suppose any they are getting certain application from all over the India, and then they are giving a, maybe suppose there is not documentation is not up to the mark, and they can ask just do the necessary whatever the documentation part, or some is there any fault, they can ask to, they can revert it back to the respective employee or respective candidate, make the necessary correction and resubmit it. Okay. The composition of the standing committee of ESIC, Employee State Insurance Corporation, is as follows. The chairman appointed by the again a central government, 3 members within the corporation representing 3 state governments, 3 members within the corporation represent the employers, and again 3 members from the employer side, and the employer and the employees equal participation from both the party. 1 member within the corporation representing the again a medical profession, 1 MP belonging to the corporation, and the Director General. So these are the constitution of a standing committee. Medical Benefit Council. Now one again in the ESI also they have a separate head, like in Navil Wadia, have you gone through on a different occasion, we are having like various committees. Okay, so under one roof, just to now what is the provision, what is the objective of framing all these small committees? For a smooth functioning of the scheme, which is prior defined by the government. Okay, so Medical Benefit Council. The Medical Benefit Council is an advisory body on matters related to the administration of medical benefits under the ESI scheme. Now, it consists of Director General of ESI as chairman, Director General of Health Services as a co-chairman, Medical Commissioner of ESIC. It is very, very important, 3 designation. Director General of ESI. So Director General in a first, like we have already stated, so he is a chairman in Medical Benefit Council. Director General of Health Services as a co-chairman. Now Health Services, it is a government designation and he will be acting as a co-chairman in Medical Benefit Council. Medical Commissioner of ESI. Again, we have a commissioner in the ESI scheme. 1 member for each state appointed by the state government. So there will be the 32 people, 3 members representing the employers, 3 members representing the employees, and 3 members including 1 women representing the medical profession. Now, why they have kept what under the medical benefit provision of a women employee? Because as earlier I started with, like there is a separate provision of a maternity benefit which is in cash under certain critical cases. So where maybe sometimes the application can't be justified by the male counterpart. That's why there is a medical representation from the women medical profession. So because maybe the designation could be like a gynecologist or suppose any higher maybe MD person, or suppose any women professional in medical doctor background only, but she is supposed to be working as a medical profession in any government sector. So she is getting a representation in this Medical Benefit Council. Scheme for other beneficiaries. Scope of section 53 and 61 is very, very important. Now 53 of the ESI Act as a deterrent for employees in order to prevent them or their families from claiming benefits provided under the scope of Workmen's Protection Act, so long as they are still insured under the reliefs offered by the ESI. Now, maybe because the provision with both the scheme are by just going through the paperwork, we will feel the like maybe employee, they will feel ki in both the scheme, like a Workmen's Compensation Act and the ESI Act, they look similar, but it is not. Okay, so that's why it is clearly mentioned under a separate section, that under section 53 what will the benefit, and they have clearly mentioned that so that it's supposed to be not misunderstood by any employee or any employer. Okay, because these are 2 separate schemes, Workmen's Protection Act, and it is prior to the ESI Act. Section 61 Act as an extension of section 53 in the sense that while section 53 only bars employees from receiving compensation under the Workmen's Compensation Act, section 61 bars employees from receiving compensation from any other enactment so long as they are still insured under the ESI Act. Now, at first, just going through this section 53 and 61, because it is a law language, might be you people will not understand what exactly this section are saying here. So I'm just giving a detail for a simplification. Now, suppose the employee who is already taking a benefit under the Workmen's Compensation Act. Okay, now suppose during this, when he has enjoying the benefit under the Employees Workmen's Protection Act, and in between he also apply for the ESI Act. Now they're supposed to not to be just to justify with to the benefit to employee, which is clearly mentioned under the section 51, 53 and 61. They need to identify whether which in the Workmen's Compensation Act, which benefit they are enjoying or they have taken earlier. Okay, and according to that, considering the situation of an employee, then because the case is put up properly by the employer through the employee. Okay, and this different council, they are sanctioning it. Okay, it is first it is put in front of a standing committee, and then it is passed through the medical suppose it is related to medical benefit, sickness, medical benefit, then it is passed through the medical council. So it's supposed to be properly put up, and then in supposed to become in front of this upper body, then only the employee will get the benefit of this scheme. Power to frame a scheme. The central governments hold the power to frame a scheme for the other beneficiaries and their family members, mostly for providing medical facility in a ESI hospitals. However, this must be within the framework of the ESI Act and must be notified in the official gazette. Now, I think in the last week, I have given lots of, forwarded you the current updates on EFO and this labor laws. Government recently they have passed one bill. Under that, like the power remain in hand of a private sector, whether they want to continue their private employee. Suppose the private sector, they're having the many employee or many labor who are acting or working as a on a contributory mode or in a permanent mode. So the decision remain in the hand of an employer whether they want to continue the this employee or not. Suppose they want to convert the permanent employee into the contract, they can do that. So that's why if you just tune any news channel, you will observe that many people, they are doing a hesitation against this current labor law, the amendments in the labor law, because it is totally against the humanity. How can the government take such a decision to make a permanent employee on a contributory basis? But just to, it is a shortcut taken by the government because they want a privatization. So slowly, they are giving a liberty to the private organization. Suppose by default, under the government scheme only, it is compulsion on a government private sector also to keep a provision of a few employees as a permanent. After certain services or tenure in the organization, they become a permanent. Okay. Now, this particular facility is no more available from this 2020 because government they have passed. I don't know whether the execution part will be implemented, but the bill is passed in both the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, and maybe the private sector soon they're going to be implement all this. So whenever the government they are passing certain amendments, they must take the decision from the public or representation from the employer and employees. If they are if it is against the employee, they definitely will then they take they become violent and they will take a certain decision which is maybe it's not what we can say, it's harm to the society also, because many people they're coming on a road and they're just doing agitation against them for this particular demand. How the employer can ask the employee, and they can initially when they're signing the bond or any nature of a job, if it is in a permanent, then how can it be converted into, it is like a in descending order, है ना. पहले कैसे कि normally suppose contributory को हम permanent करते, that is a normal trend, but it is a now reverse trend. Okay, so we will stop here. Do you have any questions from your side? Please let me know, because we are going and I don't know whether at your level you people are able to understand this law language or not. Please let me know. Anyone representation from your class? Darshana.
This subject
Yes,
is
Neha.
hard. Ma'am, it's very hard.
Subject is hard.
Yes, I'm not the subject, but this ESI Act.
Actually, that's why we are going very slowly, because let me first finish with the conceptual part, because again in your syllabus we need to compute actually how much to, suppose any case we will discuss according to case and according to the tenure and the contribution of his salary and all that, we need to actually manipulate the figure to avail the benefit to the candidate. So that's why we are going slowly. It's not difficult. This is a provision by government. We are getting a ready-made formula, and according to that, we will calculate. So that's why you just go through once. I'm just giving you the notes also, and you can the on your Google class you will find recorded current whatever discussion we are having on a regular basis. We are having a copy of your recorded file on your Google class, so you can tune that. You can again watch that video. So, and I'm just giving you notes also. It is not hard. We have enough time to complete all this, because these are to benefit come under the Social Security, EPF and the ESI Act. Okay. Only thing what happened, we are not used to of this labor law language. That's why we feel difficult. Suppose consider a section and then article. That's why we are feeling it difficult.
Yes, ma'am.
Acts and all. Any other fellow? Do you have any difficulty? Deepa, Darshana, Shivani?
Ma'am, are we going to get our reference for the SIP report today?
Yes, yes. If he's not coming, I'm giving you a soft copy.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
You can find it on your Google class. Okay?
Okay, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Should we stop here? Should we stop here?
Yes, ma'am. You can.
Okay then.
Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, chalo, bye.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, ma'am.